We sell your items online. Go ahead, declutter your life. Have a yard sale or let eBay do the work. From the thrift store shopping to that wallet popping. There are two things in life that are certain. Deathpiles in Texas. Deathpiles in Texas. With Derek Everitt and Adam Beesley.
Well, Mr. D-Roy, it is Deathpiles and Taxes time. We almost didn't make it. The computer gods did not want to let us record today.
Somebody decided to update their computer 20 minutes before we're supposed to record a award-winning podcast. This is your iron eBayer, D-Roy Everett.
I think it was because Bill Gates, divorce is kind of going awry. And Microsoft
not
was
blame it on Bill.
Updating. It was Microsoft updates.
I think you're on old Tim Apple's system.
It's a Dell computer. I don't know. All I know is all that computer is there for is to record the podcast.
You got one job computer, and you almost didn't do it. And today's a kind of a big day because as we record, I'm sure we're going to say things, Adam, that I'm just going to be full disclosure.
Always full disclosure.
I'm gonna just let it fall where it may.
Oh boy!
As we record, we're gonna double up today, and me and Adam are not recording these weekly this week. So
no.
So we might be referring to things that happened. We might say something. You'll say, "Those idiots! The world ended 3 days ago," or who knows.
The vacation time is coming on, but don't worry, listeners. You will not have to miss anything while we vacate in California.
Well, I'm not going to California.
Going to the beach.
Wait a minute.
What?
You got a bad reputation going. I'm trying to save you. I'm trying to help you out here.
What do you mean?
Well, you're a flip flopper on this fandom thing.
Yeah.
And we talk about you go BYU, Utah, you go for the green, whatever. The Jazz, Memphis. Now all of a sudden the Clippers are playing pretty good against the Jazz, and you're going to California.
LA, baby. I'm not going to LA. I'm going to San Diego.
I'd like to say it surprises me, but I guess I can't. But you're going off your eBay money.
I'm going 100% off eBay money is sending us on this trip. You go back to the very beginning. My goal was to pay for a California Disneyland trip. Disneyland is still vacated or whatever. I don't know. You got to have some special relationship with Mickey Mouse that I don't have that Derek might, but
you gotta pay for the pass.
So we're going to Legoland.
Old Fast Pass Adam, they call him.
Got a nice Airbnb right on Mission Bay, so we are pumped.
Man, there was a time some high schoolers were down on Mission Beach and got them a bong.
I don't know what that means.
Just a lot of fun. Maybe your kids could learn how to chug some milk.
All I know is thank you, eBay Sales. Thank you, D-Roy Everett, for encouraging me to start listings, start selling, because it is paying for the trip.
Man, you're going to a baseball game?
A little baseball game.
Are you going like batting? See like the pre-show? You get batting practice.
Not sure yet. We do have a young child, and it's kind of difficult to do things.
That's
so
true.
We're going to we are flying down, so we're trying to decrease the time. So we'll kind of see how.
Well, I know you got some rookies of a certain San Diego Padre guy that's playing pretty well.
Fernando Tatis.
I know you got some nice-looking young kids. So if you were to go to batting practice and get some of those autographed, might make you some money on the trip. I'm just trying to help out for the next trip.
I appreciate that. I don't even know if I have any raw cards. Everything I buy is graded or sent out.
Well, I know a guy up the road here.
Oh. So you're saying we'll see. Well, I don't even know.
I'm just trying to make you some money. I think it might be who are they playing?
The Cincinnati Reds.
Oh, Ken Griffey Jr. is long since retired on the Reds.
Rob Dibble's pitching for him.
And they'll was it Marge Shaw, the racist owner that used to let the dog take dumps out on the AstroTurf?
It was Marge Schott.
Schott.
Yes.
Well, she's rotting in hell right now as we speak, from what I understand. So.
The guy with the glasses, Chris Sabo.
What's with people in glasses anymore?
I'm contemplating getting some LASIK surgery, so I no longer have to wear glasses.
Well, no, I get the reading around walking. I mean the sports people that still wear like the big rec center glasses things.
I don't know. I hate my glasses. I have to be able to see, but I'd like to be able to, get rid of them. I haven't worn a hat in probably 7 years.
Well,
on an occasion.
your hairline appreciates you for it. It's done nothing for me.
I did just get a little haircut and trying to look sporty for the beach, so we'll see how that goes for me.
You got the beach body, you got the new shorts.
I did get some new shorts.
You can go out and eat some. There's some good eats down in San Diego. Does your family like the seafood?
We'll make sure that we dabble in a few different things.
Last time
I will get it on my own.
Last time I was down there with the family, me and Everett Denny, who was just on last week's podcast as we speak, I think, depending which order this goes in. We had one of those crab boils like we had out in San Jose.
Yeah.
And here's some things I've learned from the last podcast is sometimes we just talk and I'll say something's happening in August, but I say October and I don't go back and fix it. Or I say like, you can bet on that guys are based out of San Jose when they're out of San Diego where you're going. I don't go back and fix it. So sometimes we just sometimes we just get talking and I listen back and say, oh, we made a mistake there, but there's no way for me to go re-record.
No.
We'd be sitting here talking, then you'd hear blank and then hear San Jose, and then it ain't gonna happen. So, folks, take it with a grain of salt. But I've had a great week on the electronic bay.
I will have to say that it took me a little longer to get here than I wanted to because I had to stop at the post office selling some baseball-related gloves that I picked up last year. So
gloves are a great item,
Yeah.
and with Little League coming back, I know I say this a lot, but I truly believe it. People want to be out and doing things again with other people after being on quarantine and lockdown. Even people that weren't like as social as some people like Adam's really social. I can sit in a cave all day, and every now and again I like to see some people, but not everybody, But there's some people that like to be social, and that includes getting their kids out there. One of the things you can do is sign your kids up for rec league or little league or whatever, and a lot of people, if their kids are just trying it out, it's first season, they don't want to go spend $80 on a glove.
No.
I mean, even if your kid's going all-stars and
$20
and all that, going on the tour of, potential MLB draft, I don't know, candidate, you still don't want to spend $80 on a glove. But if you go on eBay, you can find gloves. You can find gloves in the wild that your yard sells or at your thrift stores, and if you find the right brands, the right models, do your searches, you'd be surprised what some of this stuff goes for.
Yes, and I would do say, what tends to happen is when you get kind of involved in these new rec leagues, you usually get involved in like a group text, like you have all the team moms and everything, and they're all in there, and just be careful how you interact with that group text.
Well, yeah, you don't want to send something out that's meant for one person that goes to everybody.
Yeah.
Especially if it's, sometimes, the family text the same way.
Oh, yes.
You can send some stuff that might be interpreted differently than how you want it to be interpreted.
Yeah.
Or you send, Lord forbid, some pictures that might be compromised, or, maybe you're in a fight and you say something that you mean just to send to one person and you send it out to everybody.
Yeah.
You got to walk that back.
I'm a big fan. Don't document things. I'm a big fan of that.
And if you say it out loud, they can never prove it unless it's recorded. Right, Adam?
That's what I'm saying. That's all. That is some great life advice. It tied into some eBay advice, but be careful who you text.
I had an executive at my work, and
an executive at your work.
Well, let me talk and tell the story. Adam, you're an executive at your work. I still show up and do the podcast with you, even though you can't turn on a computer and record a podcast with me.
I know. I severely felt at my job. I'm 45 minutes behind today.
You got one job. One job to do here. No, but the reason I say that is because I went and I have to pick up documents and do all my stuff. And he had a bat that he was putting back in, he was returning a baseball bat, kind of like what we were talking about. And I think it was an Easton or something. I said, oh, you get ready for the season. And he goes, yeah, this one just was a little flat or something. I said, you need to get you one of those, Worth or something. I was just trying to throw out some names or whatever. And he's like, oh, yeah, those are a little expensive. I said, not if you find them at the right sources. You'd be surprised what you can find if you keep your eyes open. So he was sending it back. I think he bought it on the internet. I don't know if it was an eBay or Amazon or wherever, but to say even an executive tries to save a few bucks somewhere, getting them a D-Martini or whatever. I don't know.
The D-Martini bats, yeah, those are the big to-dos.
The ones that have that sweet spot. If you're in the softball, and I happen to know, it was just the World Series, not but a few weeks ago as we record. It was like a week or so ago. I know a bunch of guys got together, had a good party. And they watched it, I guess, but congratulations goes out to Oklahoma, Adam.
Oh.
The Boomer Sooners.
Boomer!
The women Boomer Sooners are the national champions.
Sooner. Boomer!
Oh, Boomer. Sooner. I don't.
Boomer!
Sooner.
That's how it's supposed to go.
Yeah,
We apologize, Sooner Nation. That was just half.
We got more listeners in Texas than Oklahoma. So if you change that, I'm gonna go hook 'em horns.
I'll tell you what, man. North Carolina blew up this week. Tar Heel Nation, Blue Hill or Blue Devils,
wherever you're
Wake
at.
Forest.
Wherever you're at. Tobacco Road. We're just fans of Tobacco Road.
We're fans.
Michigan. We do well in Michigan.
Been killing it in Kenya. Like how that works, I don't know.
I keep talking about that. I told you I got that Prince listening in. I actually got. I'll tell you about the Prince. So I got a phone. Well, okay. I've been listing some things, right?
You have been listing.
I've been listing some things. I decided to do a little Mercari listing as well, shake up the apple tree and see what we can do. And it's a lot easier, a lot faster. So I put up some stuff over there on Mercari that's not PSA graded, just trying to move some stuff.
Some raw dog.
Raw dogging it a little bit, and I get 3 messages from 2 different people, and 3 messages from 2 different people. Yes, you heard that right.
Okay.
I'll say the same thing. Like, please contact me at whatever number, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm not doing
It's a
that.
big no-no.
Not doing that. They're like, no, my cell phone is about to die, or I'm at work and I don't want to get in trouble. And so one of them was for a pretty good priced item, so I'm like, whatever. So I text them. I'm just like, what's going on? And of course, it was some scam, something. Of course, I will only buy from you from Mercari, but can you please, this, that, and the other? And I'm like, what are you trying to pull here? They kept asking all these questions, but the same people ask they asked the same questions, and then 2 of them were terminated from Mercari from the text, message because you're trying to go off Mercari. But the one guy had his number, so I just called him up. I'm like, you know me, like, let's see what this guy has.
See what he's going to tell me.
So I'm like, hey, what's the scam here? What's going on? What's the payoff here? I don't know what you're talking about. So, well, you want this card, and I got, a few other people that are saying the exact same lines, and so you gonna buy it or what? Well, you gotta send this email because Mercari's saying something about your account, so if you send me this email, I said, no, what you can do is just Venmo me right now, and I'll send you the card.
Sure.
Like, we'll just go, no, we gotta do it on Mercari. I said, okay, go over to Mercari right now.
Push the button.
And we'll do the card. Well, I can't because your account, well, I said, no, I'm right on there. My account's not frozen. Listen, and I said, you gotta buy this card or not, or we're just wasting each other's time, and they hung up on me. But be careful, there's a scamster a minute, and not talking about Kenya specifically, because we got good listeners over there.
Good listeners.
But the Congo's filthy with them. I gotta go for the rival. I'm sure those are rival countries for some reason.
Rival countries.
When it comes to Africa, I know my rival countries.
And are outside the United States, inside of the United States. Right now it's the Euro 2020. If you go back in the archive, I was big league in the soccer because the World Cup is coming up. I don't like soccer, but I like money. And Derek would give me a hard time saying I flip-flop and whatever. And I will say that Derek has sold his fair share of merchandise from the other side of the aisle, so he's a bigger both sides of his mouth kind of guy than I am.
I just don't admit it.
Well, I know until I call you out on it.
Well, I still haven't admitted it. However, I'll go ahead and say this much. I bought some soccer cards.
No.
I took a dabble. Well, the women's soccer, and there's a women's pro league, but the women's soccer traditionally in America does better than the men's. They're a lot better. They don't flop around. If you watch soccer, now I don't know the rules, and I don't watch a whole lot of it, but I do know the women are tougher than the men in soccer. They don't flip, flop, and fly. They play tough, and they usually win. The men's U.S. team pretty much is just trash. Is that fair to say?
It's like the 7th most popular. I think our lacrosse team is better. So
I'm just saying, they're pretty much trash, but the women do good and win. So my idea is the same thing as your World's Cup. There's going to be women on this team. They're going to be in the World's Cup that I can go and buy cards from right now for next to nothing.
True.
I'm looking for signatures or inserts, kind of like what you've done with the WNBA.
Yeah.
I got enough time to get them graded because we got about a year. Is that what it is till the World Cup?
I don't know.
Something like that. And so I figure, get the stars. I can get them for cheap. And then when they're popular, because they're winning, and the men's team's nowhere to be found, and that's my time to shine.
Buy low, sell high. And
So-
you're the only one out there. Derek, you are a smart man. I'm still waiting on my Diego Maradona cards. And apparently the murder charges, they are allegedly, but now there's I think 22 people that are now alleged of being a conspirator to kill him. So we'll kind of see controversy sells, and we'll just kind of see what's
Keep the name out there. Best thing that could happen for you is they'll do a Dateline or 48 Hours about this and bring it to more more people.
Of the World Cup.
More people, more that knows.
I heard you have been slinging your Donovan cards left and right, and you are getting some big doll hairs out of all these kind of things.
So again, as we talk, the Jazz are still technically playing in the playoffs.
Oh, they still will be when this airs.
Lord, I hope so. I'm not going to put any money on it, but who knows?
Can you upload this Friday?
That's what I was going to say. I mean, we're a couple weeks. Well, yeah, we're a couple weeks out, so hopefully they're still playing. But the point of it is I talked about this before. We got our star players, Donovan Mitchell, and I was able, and I still got a bunch of PSA, but there was a time when I was able to get his rookie cards for like next to nothing down at Phil's.
Yeah.
And I loaded up. I think I got them for $7 to $10, and I sent them all in to get them graded, and that's when I could get them graded for like $9 to $12, maybe $15 at the most.
Yeah.
So we're talking maybe maxed out, a little over $20 a card. I come back and I listed a bunch, but everything that was a 10 I kept because I had this idea that I'm a hometown homer, and if he ever wins the championship or if he goes down as the best Jazz player ever,
when he wins the championship.
If I look at the Karl Malone or John Stockton's, but then I thought even if he leaves and goes to a different market, if he goes to New York, if he goes to LA, if he goes to one of these teams, because nowadays, players don't usually have a whole career with one team. That's just the way it is. And I thought, well, if he goes and gets some championships somewhere, especially if he goes to New York where he's from and gets a championship for the Knicks, that's huge. So I was going to save my 10s till he got a championship and then sell them. However, I was talking with Adam, I was talking with a few other friends, and I thought, now's the time, kind of. Cards are an all-time peak. We've been talking about that. They're trending up. The Jazz have the best record in the league. And they were doing good in the playoffs at the time when I posted them. And I thought, I'm just going to put them up and see what they do. So I went ahead and I listed them. There's probably about 6 or 7 cards that I listed. And I put them at a little higher price than the average sell. So I looked through the sells, and what that was, I added $40 to $60 depending on the card. And that night, the Jazz had a game. And it was the game where Donovan went scoreless in the first quarter. So I'm like, that wasn't good for me. That's not helping me out. But the second quarter, he came out, and he played a really good game, and I started getting a bunch of offers. And I thought, well, I don't know. If they end up going, maybe I'll save until they go to the Western Conference Finals, or we'll see what happens.
Sell it.
Well, what happened is late in that third quarter, Donovan went down, and he was limping off into the locker room.
Yes, he was.
And kind of looked like a knee injury. I thought, well, we've seen this play out before with other players, and I hurried and accepted a bunch of offers because I thought, who knows? He might be out for the season. He might be career ending, but you never know. Or it might just be, who knows? This might have been the pinnacle. So I took that money, people paid, and I made some good money. I think it was Friday. I had a record, almost a record. I did over $1,000 on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great for it to be what we call the summer slowdown, right? To be able to have that kind of a day. I felt pretty good about it. So one of the lessons was list your crap. Timing is a good thing when it's relevant, but I could have held on to it, and who knows, maybe 5 to 10 years I'll say, I should have had that.
But realistically, that 1,000 that you sold, I mean, what do you think you're into it?
Maybe $100.
So you say, well,
and the other thing is I got a bunch more at PSA getting graded right now, and you don't know what grades are going to come back at, but I think I'll replenish my stock.
So there's 2 things I want to cover before we hit the break hard. As we always hear this East Coast bias. We're here in the West, we're in the Mountain West. Our games are starting here. Last night it started at 8:20 our time, which is 10:20 Eastern time. By the time the games are getting over, we're pushing 11 o'clock, which is late.
Flyover state.
Yeah,
we're just a flyover. Nobody knows where we're at.
Which is late. So I kind of had this conversation with my wife yesterday because we were, talking about it. So I wanted to look it up because everything I look up is by numbers. That's the whole idea. And the idea is you want to hit the biggest bang for your buck. So if I'm selling a product, I want to make sure it's in the front of the most people at the best time. So these are per 2014 census. At that time, the Eastern time zone had 47% of the entire United States population with 150 50 million people. And right next to it, the central time zone had 29%, so 92 million. So well over. I mean, we're talking nearly 65% of the entire United States lives in that Eastern time zone. So there is absolutely no reason. Oh, actually, close to 75%. So why would they like change everything? Because I'm like, well, why don't they start it there earlier, like at 5:30, so our game could be up? They don't care about us. They just don't.
Well, I'm surprised. I thought Pacific might have a little more than what they have there.
Yeah, Pacific's got. I mean, because if you think about it, what you have California, which is 38 million, whatever. Washington and Oregon, and that's really it.
Well, shout out to our folks up there in Nova Scotia. I don't know.
Nova Scotia, wrong. British Columbia. So
I've been to the BC.
That was the first hit. So when you talk East Coast bias, it's absolutely.
I was going to say Alaska, but I didn't know what time zone they were in, so I had to try to come up with a Providence real
They're in
fast.
their own time zone. So it's so high. Who knows?
Certain parts of Nevada. I was going to say Nevada again.
Oh, I'm
upset
going to
you.
punch you in the face.
Well, they're in the Pacific time zone.
They are, but nobody lives there.
Las Vegas,
Yeah.
pretty populous place. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
It is a pretty populous place.
And growing.
So that was kind of that the whole reason that the time is all kind of separate. It's all based on same thing. I mean, you try and put your product in front of the most amount of people, and that's kind of what you do. You throw it out on the eBay because that's where you get a lot of You might throw it on
Get the most eyeballs.
Slabs or like Facebook Marketplace, Mercari, ThreadUp, Poshmark, all of these other things. Which, speaking of your other one, I don't even Bebop.
Oh yeah.
Bebop got bought out for some gajillion dollars.
Yeah, they got beat out beat up. Who bought Etsy? I think.
Yeah, Etsy did. Etsy bought them. So if you're down there scraping to make something, just watch out, man. Some of these people notice what you're doing, and
see, the Depop was popular. It's popular with like the generation after us, after the
kids.
millennial. Yeah, so they see those kids over there, and they're like, man, they're buying on this platform. Well, we need that money because they're going to grow up to keep buying on that platform.
It's true, they are.
And that's where you got like the eBay and the Amazon saying, how do we get the kids? What are the kids into? And Adam's a TikToker. He knows all this. So
We did the Dirty Dash run over the weekend. Real fun. It's 5K. You run through mud. We had 4 different families.
I thought you were just going to tell me you did the dirty over the weekend. I'm like, well, good for you, but our listeners don't need to know all this.
We had 4 families with children in wheelchairs that we pushed through the mud, the gunk, 3.5 miles. It was a really good time. Put up a lot of video. I don't know, we're at like the one video. I'm sure we'll hit 1 million views today. It's really fun. It's really, really fun. And I'll tell you, when you know that you have made it in the world, these kids, like they do, they've got some severe disabilities. Like I said, the one guy has cerebral palsy, the other 2 have some weird syndrome, I think it's called Rett syndrome. It doesn't allow them to be verbal at all. But some freaking jackwagon, got on there, and people they're just wrong. They just have problems. Somebody got on there and wrote in the feed, great, they have a race for vegetables. And the nice part is people come in and rip somebody to shreds, but I think, holy, what is wrong with people? But that's when you know you've made it in the world, when you're making something that improves people's lives and somebody comes out and bashes it, like, what is wrong with that person's life that they have to, give people who have, issues physically and mentally that they have to bash that type of
and the point of it was it was a race for not people that were handicapped. It was a race that they can usually compete in because they were in wheelchairs. So
but they never could, and now they're included in it. So
some people just have nothing better to do than try to watch the world burn. But there goes my joke of just trying to say, can you get your TikTok guy to get us some podcast views?
Yeah.
Can't say that now.
No.
You got all serious on me there.
Well, I don't know. I saw that, and I'm like, geez, what is... And then, luckily, everyone else has ripped somebody to shreds, but that being said, go on, man, we had a good time. We had a good time, and I am fat, overweight, blood pressure's up, cholesterol's up, and I got to improve as I suck down my 3rd Diet Mountain Dew for the day. So, let's hit a break.
Adam, my taxes are done. The season's over. I can just go on vacation and not have to see you again for another year.
Well, yeah, because you're never going to have to file your taxes again unless it's another year away.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I forgot about that.
They're never going away. So here at Adam Up Accounting, we're glad to help you during tax time. But if you're also a larger seller, if you need to run payroll, if you really want some help running those bookkeeping reports, because I know how good you are at that, we're happy to help you. We have really good affordable monthly plans on these higher seller, you're running it like a business, you've got some good amount of income, we'd be happy to take care of you so that your accounting needs are taken care of.
Well, I don't want to talk to you, though. I don't want to call up and just get some office off in, New Brunswick or somewhere.
Hey, we're here. You can message us on our website, shoot us a message on social media. We'd be glad to help you out, kind of tell you what options we have so that you can be more organized and teach you and help you make more money and pay less to Uncle Sam.
Well, what's your website, and where do I find you on social media then, my friend?
Everything's Adam Up Accounting. You can look us up there on our website. You can follow us, get some Wednesday wisdom. We try to give you some tips. You can also link through the podcast, Deathpiles and Taxes. Get those taxes taken care of so you have more time to make money elsewhere. Well, Derek, there's a reason we call it Deathpiles and Taxes. It's because I got a whole load of stuff that I just need to list, and I haven't been doing it.
Well, Adam, you're not alone. That's why people are listening right now. I know that they're just tiptoeing around them death piles all around their houses and apartments.
It's real fun to buy, but it kind of stinks to sell. So what can I do about it, buddy?
Well, you're in luck. We've partnered with a great company called Sellhound. And what they're going to do is they're going to list all your death piles for you. They'll do the work for you.
Oh, I love it when people do the work for me. How do I get in on that deal?
Well, first off, they're going to let you try it. First 2 are free on the house. After that, man, they got simple plans. They're just going to make it easy. You take a few pictures, you send it over to them, and they do all the work.
That sounds really too easy, and I've used it myself. It's awesome. D-Roy, what do our listeners have to do to take advantage of this?
Just do Death Piles 25, Death Piles, all capital letters, at the end when you're signing up for your payment. And you'll save 25% off whatever plan you go with.
That sounds awesome. Get it on there, start listing, start selling so you can go out and buy some more stuff. All right, D-Roy, we are back. I hope you're ready. I'm already getting pumped from people hearing about the Denny interview. I'm hearing from other people that he came on and he crushed it.
Okay.
That's what I'm hearing from the people. So word is getting around, whether it's Dennis spending it himself or other people just hanging on and catching it. But good on that.
Sometimes you got to get out and help yourself, I guess.
Sometimes it's what you have to do. So.
Well, again, as we've recorded, people have been listening. They tune back in.
I do. I know you've gotten involved. I know that, like I said, we're kind of we share our interests, the things that we like. Hopefully, you like some of the same things. We're really trying to find niches. We find ability to sell things online to make money. But I'll tell you what, this A&E series about uncovered treasures with the wrestling stuff, they hit it hard, and they had the Andre the Giant special. Did you happen to catch that one?
No spoilers. I haven't watched it yet. I got them all recorded. I have a new service that I have to update and get into. But.
Oh, man, I watched it, and I watched another one, and there was almost a fight at our house.
Ooh.
Almost.
Well, do go on.
So apparently, I've been watching these, and, I never... Sometimes, my wife, she'll be doing something else, and I don't think that she's really paying attention. She's kind of doing her own thing. And the other night, she's like, are you done? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? She's like, you've been watching these shows, and it's the dumbest thing ever.
Wow.
That was and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, these stupid guys, like, wearing Speedos, jumping around on each other, this is just dumb. And I'm like, those are fighting words. Like, if she would have said that 10 years, 12 years ago, I mean, it'd be grounds. Like,
it might be. That still might. I mean, I know you got some kids, Adam, but you might want to look at some warriors. I don't know.
What? And
I thought she was a fan of choreographed things and people wearing spandex.
That's kind of what I said. I'm like, how is this any different than the shows you like to watch, The Bachelor and these other, it's
about as scripted as The Bachelor. I'll go on record for that.
That's what I'm saying, and it just kind of took me a gaff.
Well, you were watching. So for those people that are listening, there's an A&E series that's kind of like combining Storage Wars and
American Pickers,
and almost like the Pawn Stars.
Yeah.
Except for it's old. It's old.
All wrestling.
So WWE's trying to put together a museum, is what I figure.
Oh yes.
And so they're going out and they're trying to find because a lot of the merchandise didn't get saved because it was on to the next, and you'd have a show on to the next, and no one really thought to archive it. Well, there's certain fans that were super fans that like, oh yeah, I want that. and the wrestlers would almost just give them away stuff, or wrestlers would just put it in their
their
storage units or upstairs in the attic or whatever. So now they got people going out and saying, hey, whatever happened to that robe, or whatever happened to that was pretty cool. And the guy's like, yeah, I have it, but I really like it. And so they'll have the wrestler actually come out and they'll try to negotiate and like, we'll give you $5,000 or whatever for it.
Our buddy Mick Foley was on the show.
Mick Foley was a good one. It's almost like Antique Roadshow to some extent.
Yes, it is.
So they'll come out, they'll tell the story about it and appraise it, and then they have to negotiate to get the item. And it's kind of fun.
It's just really fun. It's not kind of fun. It's really fun.
Well, I'm biased, so I really enjoy it. Except for my wife doesn't necessarily. She'll go to the wrestling and stuff, and she'll put up with it for a little bit or whatever. She'll do her own thing, but she really likes the show because it is more of a. Oh, that's kind of interesting. And like the Undertaker, where they had to go to the funeral home and try to find the urn that they donated to like the National, Society or whatever, and then they have to try to swindle it out from under them and get something in return for it or whatever. So it's a little different than just actually, if you don't like pro wrestling, you're like, oh, I wouldn't want to watch that. If you like any of those other shows that we just said, I mean, they'll tell you the story behind it. You don't have to be a fan, but it's fun to watch. So anyways,
intrigued.
Adam, your wife says, are you about done with this, huh?
She was done with it, and I thought, man, because I have it's kind of one of those. I'm one of those guys. Like I haven't remembered any of that, but then they had my guy, Brutus the Beefcake, the barber.
You were a fan of Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
And he had the big scissors and stuff.
I did see that one. Him and Valentine.
That was the move, and I'm like, wow, the figure 4 with the shin guard. I'm like, man, I remember doing that to my brother. Like that was always you try to emulate the moves. That was the whole idea.
That's what happened a lot.
Don't try this at home.
That's why the disclaimer had to go up.
Hold my my fruit pass.
7-Up. I don't know.
Hold my Capri Sun.
Hold my Sprite, please.
Yes. So it was always you're trying to do those. So it was really fun, but I guess I kind of realized I had it on the back burner for a long time because I haven't followed it for a long time. So probably like mid 90s. Because back then, like you didn't have it on TV, so that was a part of the Friday night, Saturday night. You go to the video store and they'd have WrestleMania 3 or you'd have Royal Rumble, and you would rent the video and then you'd watch it because that's kind of the way it worked. That's exactly the way it worked. So you'd be like, man, this is awesome, this is so cool, and if you were lucky, you'd actually catch it on real TV. So it was really fun, and like I said, at a certain point, I just kind of, didn't grow out of it, but it just...
you move on. That's how that kind of thing is.
The thing. So now I'm a part of that but, man, those guys are brilliant. Like, your buddy Vince, he is on top of it, because what they did is they didn't put the best at the beginning. I mean, they did some good ones at the beginning.
Well, they got to hook you in.
But they didn't come out swinging, which this brings me into, you're going to get there. They showed your place, North Hollywood, your buddy, where you have sent merchandise, Ron Howard. They showed the shop.
I sent him on there, and Holly said, oh, you've been to that shop? I said, I've actually been to the one in Orlando. I haven't been to this one. There's 2 of them.
Oh, there's 2.
But then that Ron Howard come on and said, but he bought a card from me. And I went to that address. I've sold stuff to this location.
So you are kind of you're pseudo-celebrity in the podcast area.
Hey, I'm hoping someday... I thought, man, if the Jazz would do something like this, where they had to come and get some Jerry Sloan items for me, I'd be feeling all right about it.
Oh, man. So that's all I had a good, I don't know, I guess, remembering things when you're a kid, and that's kind of what a lot of these guys talk about is, remembering moments. And I don't want to say with me and my brother, like, we kind of watched it together. There's kind of that unique time period that you have with your siblings that, either you're not, you're fighting, let's be honest. I mean, that's just what you do, and that's kind of what happens. So
you're trying to do your dominance. You're trying to see who the alpha male in the house is, Adam.
Yeah, so how did that go at the Evie household? I know we had Big Daddy in here.
I had a championship belt. Some matches were non-title matches, but I had the belt.
Non-title matches. So that being said, I started to kind of look for some Andre memorabilia, and I showed you here. I stumbled across, I guess, the accountant wrestling pseudo best part of memorabilia you could have, and it had a contract from 1980 showing the actual payouts that had because of the event, and from your who is it again?
And it was from Paul Bosch out of he had a territory back in those days. They owned territory, so you almost had like a you'd own a part of the country that was your area.
All our friends in the Carolinas know exactly what we're talking
There
about.
was a Carolina, there was a Northeast. Anyways, everywhere that's Vince's dad had the Northeast, and eventually he started buying out other territories, and that's a whole other story. But point of the story is you almost had a franchise, and you owned a few states, and you could run your shows there.
So Paul Bosch's Deathpile, I'm guessing he
Yep,
has.
that's exactly what it was.
Somebody has found his estate and have these things up. And I hope this is the part that you're listening. If you slow down, this is the whole reason you listen to the podcast. This one singular contract they have listed, now it's not sold, but they have it listed right now for $17,000. And the more of these kind of shows that pub it, there's going to be guys like me saying, that's the coolest thing ever, I gotta have it, because it has signed, his real name and all of these things, and it shows payouts. Like, some death piles are worth a lot of money.
Yeah, there was so this was kind of big online. There was a line outside of the house when they said that they were going to have an estate sale, and people just going to try to get this kind of stuff. Wherever you live in your area, it might not be pro wrestling related, but there's a major celebrity that lives in that area, or somebody that's been famous in the past. When they pass away, their estate is going to have some things that the kids don't want, or they want the money, or maybe it's a storage unit. I'd implore people to keep an eye open and this kind of stuff, because it goes for a lot less than what you'd think, or you can find some cool things that you'd never know about. I always talk about the Jerry Sloan episode. It's up, where I bought a ton of Jerry Sloan things that I had no business of ever owning. Especially, when that came with
personalized Christmas cards.
Well, and there's, I have an autograph from Pat Riley, who's is he still the owner of the Heat?
He's the management
general manager, to Hot Rod Hundley, who was the jazz announcer.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff from Hot Rod Hundley because I guess Jerry Sloan got it when he died, I'm guessing. So you get a bunch of mixed bags. But that's the same, there might be people who don't know who Paul Bosch is, and that's fine, you don't need to know, but you probably know who Andre the Giant is. Or there's a lot of people that have started to collect, because back in the day you had to have checks, and so you'd write a check, so canceled checks of celebrities.
I looked at buying, Walt Disney wrote a check to the IRS, I think we talked, it was like $6,500. I'm like, that's a little bit much for me to have.
But if you're at some random estate sale or something, and grandma did some business with who knows who, and you got a canceled check, because back in the day they used to have all their checks would come back to them, and then you'd file and keep them in case something went bad. So maybe, I don't know, grandma hired, who knows, somebody to come over to dinner and entertain or whatever. You gotta.
Bill Gates might have come fix grandma's first computer.
Oh, Bill Gates. But I was going back more in, your Doris Day came to entertain, or you had Lawrence Welk came and did a performance at the school or something.
Lucille Ball came in and
did some comedy. I don't know. Who knows what's out there? And the reason you want the check is because on the back, and then not only is it, hey, this is how much they got paid, which is kind of cool to see. And
they have signed.
And it might have the real name, but on the back it's signed, and it's just kind of cool. People collect anything.
Yeah, so that's kind of one of those things is as you kind of, you're this deep into the podcast, we're always trying to kind of give you some new ideas. And as you think about these estates, so like I said, it might be junk, but it's treasure hunting. You are hunting down things. And like I said, I have my regular business. I love it. I really enjoy what I do. I've done it for 6 months. I really need a mental break, but I get more excited about selling $150 Cheryl Swoops card. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, who's gonna pay for this? But they pay me for it, and because of that, I'm going to California on a vacation on stuff that I just randomly learned how to sell online. That is my hobby. My hobby is paying for my vacations, and I could not be any happier, Leroy.
Taking the family to do it, and depending on where you're at in the country, right? You go to an estate sale or you go to the thrift store, there's certain places that are overlooked and there's certain places that are overpicked. So the more knowledge you get, the more little niches that you know a little bit about. And maybe you go and it's like, okay, t-shirts are totally depleted, but you go over to cookware, you go over to mugs or paintings or whatever, and you're like, I know a little bit about,
and
whatever.
And that's kind of what we talked about as my, evolution of selling. I used to go in, and this is, the pandemic really kind of, pushed the gears, and we've talked about it, but, my average sales were, $15 to $35, and now they're $125 to $200, and that's just, again, kind of, I've been able to find my niche, and I'm still buying it very low, which is great, making more money, but it's been really fun. It's been fun to find the treasures and make the money. That's been the fun part.
Oh, it's always the fun part, and it always goes back to, well, keep listed. I mean, if it's not listed, it doesn't sell.
What did Granny always tell us?
Can't sell the cart, or can't sell goods out of the empty wagon.
Yeah,
You can't sell empty carts either unless it's new prospectors, I guess.
So, but like I said, that's kind of wish you the best. Stay cool. It is hot and heavy most of the places where you are, unless you're down in Chile. I think we've got some listeners down in.
Hey, what was I doing with Chile the other day? I mentioned them for something.
I don't know. You probably had the Everett, chili cook-off contest.
I think I sold something down there.
You probably did. So, D-Roy, that being said, there are two things in life that are for certain, my friend.
That'd be Deathpiles and taxes.
We're well within our rights to use this song. We're aware that preaching copyright is wrong. With lots of dedication, we've researched the legislation, and this music has nowhere else it belongs. Derek is the king of Deathpiles, and Adam does his taxes all the while. Deathpiles and taxes, selling stuff online in between. Deathpiles and taxes, no copyright infringement to be seen. Derek is the king of Deathpiles, and Adam does his taxes all the while. Deathpiles and taxes, selling stuff online in between. Deathpiles and taxes, no copyright infringement.